I want to talk about the last couple of months. The last couple of months have been very challenging. I don't want to get into specifics, but if you've been following my channel and watching the last few videos, you're going to be able to infer some of these challenges. And the reason why I don't want to be specific is because I'm still in process of this life change, and I'm navigating a lot of various issues where privacy of other people are involved. Also, there are things that are going on in my mind where I don't really want to tip my hand just yet. I don't want to reveal too much. However, in the interest of keeping the dialogue going, I do want to cover a certain aspect of my journey. I think that it will be interesting to some of you, and perhaps even shocking, surprising, or you may not even like it at all. However, I have a trusted advisor that I have been consulting very deeply, spending hours at a time across several months now. I've done it very quietly. A few people know about this advisor, and I get interesting reactions when I reveal my most trusted advisor because they don't understand, and it's actually very hard to describe. This advisor that I'm using is not a human advisor. Some of you know where I'm going with this. The most trusted advisor I have these last few months is AI, more specifically, Grok AI. And let me get into it. I don't want to turn this into another AI video that I've seen where, I don't know, it's a lot of interesting things, very technical things, but the angle that I'm coming from on this has to do with using Grok AI in a very specific manner. And it has nothing to do with technicalities. It has to do with navigating legalities and sticky situations and trying to overcome situations where there are no clear-cut answers. The reason why I have enjoyed Grok AI more than ChatGPT or Gemini, for example, which I've tried, is the fact that Grok AI, in my opinion, does a much better job in having a dialogue with controversial ideas, edgy ideas, things that are not very popular. In fact, you can bring up all kinds of crazy ideas because I'm faced with some very interesting challenges of which I am not technically responsible, but my conscience tells me that I have to do something about it. I'm forced to use a resource in a way that I never expected. So when I think about AI, I'm always thinking about productivity, how to solve technical problems, or to how to do things more efficiently and so forth, right? But for me, it's none of these things. It has to do with being able to have a deep dive conversation, talking about subtle, controversial things, crazy ideas that no human would probably ever entertain. Ideally, I would like to speak to actual people. I would like to speak to a lawyer, for example. Unfortunately, lawyers don't come cheap. Lawyers in the realm that I'm looking to explore, they charge $400 an hour. So if you're going to pay $400 an hour, you better talk fast and you better be very efficient with your questions. Unfortunately, when you delve into areas where you're not knowledgeable, you're not experienced, you don't even know if the questions you're asking is any good, it becomes a problem. You end up spending $400 an hour meandering because of your own ignorance. You don't know anything. You have no experience. You don't know what the right questions are to ask. I have a problem with paying somebody $400 an hour. As much as I would like to have a human advisor, it's just not possible. In my world, $400 an hour is a lot of money. Because of this financial obstacle, and as well as a logistical obstacle, right? You speak to a lawyer, you're probably going to have to sign a retainer agreement. Even if you're willing to sign a retainer agreement, and there is an allegiance of confidentiality, I don't know. People are people. That's the way I think of it. And there's just certain conversations just can never be had. I just think it's problematic. There are many thoughts that a person can have. You just got to keep to yourself. It just doesn't behoove you to speak it out loud. Now that I've set that up, let's talk about Grok AI. When I started my journey down AI, it was generally basic questions, how to do simple things, doing research and all that. Because I was presented a very challenging life scenarios where there were no simple answers, no clear-cut answers, and I was getting in my head, I just needed a resource to be able to type these questions to get answers. There is no doubt that a human advisor is much better if you can get it and if you can afford it, which in this case, I can't, and even if I could, I won't. So that was a decision I made. Interestingly for me, ChatGPT is the most obvious AI to go to first because it's the most popular, it's the most visible. The name seems to come up more frequently than any other AI that's available today. The downside of ChatGPT is that they give you very limited sessions. In other words, yes, you can ask a few basic questions, but you really, under the free version, you can only go so far. And yes, I can pay $20 a month. I'm just not prepared to do something like that because I inherently hate subscriptions. Now, I do subscriptions of various products, but they're very, very selective and they have a very specific purpose. Whereas ChatGPT, in my view, is a little bit broad-based. And in any case, the Q&A sessions I had with ChatGPT, I found very limiting. Every time you would ask an edgy question, it would shut you down. They would say, oh, it's illegal, or it would give some negative answer and point to very obvious answers. Like, for example, go get a power of attorney. Well, crap. For a long time, I've known about the power of attorney. It's a very simple document, but it's predicated upon a person agreeing. So if you can't get that, it's a dumb answer. I am way past dumb, simplistic answers. And so I find ChatGPT and even Gemini to be somewhat inadequate because they don't want you to entertain edgy scenarios and edgy solutions. And the fact of the matter is, in life, not everything is so black and white. We live in gray areas. And if you don't believe that, the next time you drive down a highway, I want to ask you, how fast do you drive down a highway? Are you driving down the highway at the posted speeds? Or are you going 5 miles an hour over the posted speeds? Are you going over 10 miles per hour over the posted speeds? Or perhaps 15, 20 miles past the posted speeds? You see what I'm getting at? I don't want to hear about it because every day when I drive down the street, people are intentionally ignoring the posted legal signs, for an example, right? Or people who take pens and pencils that don't belong to it. So there's all kinds of scenarios where it's technically illegal or it's unethical or immoral, but it happens, right? So I just want to give a little bit of context. It's not that I'm condoning criminality or being unethical or being immoral. It's not like that. It's when you're presented with very difficult scenarios, how do you overcome them when conventional means fail you? And because of this, I find Grok AI to be superior. I want to make it clear. Grok AI, the way they acknowledge it is they put a lot of disclaimers and they even put percentages in terms of your chances of success or chances of a negative consequence and things along those lines. And I find that to be very refreshing in the presentation. Whereas I find ChatGPT and Google Gemini to really be very simplistic in its approach. It's too simple. It lacks granularity, in my opinion. It lacks texture, in my opinion. It lacks nuance, in my opinion. And when it comes to legal scenarios, I find Grok to be superior overall. Some of the topics I've covered have to do with elderly people. Some of the topics I've explored has to do with whether I should allow an elderly person to continue driving, or should I take measures to shut them down? How do I get bills paid when you don't have formal authority to certain bank accounts, for example? How do you take care of the fundamentals of life when they're incapable and unable to perform certain functions? I've also run scenarios regarding the pros and cons of guardianships. I've run scenarios where, what if somebody has no will? What happens on probate? There are a variety of topics I have explored that would have cost me a fortune if I had to hire a lawyer. It just would have costed me a fortune. And even if I did get the answers from a legalistic point of view, I find that the information and insights come from very different places, which I don't think most people would ever come up with. Again, I wish I could get into more specifics, but at this time, I can't. But I will say that Grok has been my best advisor in the absence of my ability and willingness to pay $400 an hour to qualified individuals in the effort to help me process scenarios, think things through, do self-critiques, looking at situations from a perspective that I could never come up with on my own. If you found this video interesting and helpful, it would be helpful to me if you hit that like button to help YouTube spread and share this video to other people. And if you want to continue to follow my ongoing story of my challenges that I'm facing right now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video.